What's up?
Happy Friday, LinkedIn. Woo. What is poppin'? What is good in y'all hoods? It's sunny over here. You know, we always talk about the weather because that's the first thing we always have to talk about.
the tacky sales guys. Yeah.
Hey, what's the weather like over there,
Bob,
Bill?
It's nice. It's a 76, light showers in Columbus.
I got my coat on inside, but it looks great outside.
Luckily, we got the lawn mowed before it really started coming down.
Yeah, let me just light my cigarette. Sorry, it's raining on fire. Yeah, I'm saying.
I'm excited to be on this call today, present my software. Really see if XYZ AI can work for you. I don't know. I lost it.
So what's the weather like, guys?
Yeah.
All right.
Bradley, what's up,
Bradley?
Brother?
Happy Friday, dude. How you doing? What's popping? What is popping? I'm gonna open up these blinds, these messed up blinds. Still moving. If you guys notice, my shoes. Yeah, got some.
Been a great week. Yeah, still selling shoes. Be at the flea market tomorrow.
I will not be selling these at the flea market. You will not get the price you want.
You can be outside Nike Town in Seattle, right? Next to the fish market.
I'm not.
Is it Pike Street, right? Pike.
You got. Look at you. That's right, Pike Street.
No big deal. I've been there. I went to a Seahawks Patriots game in 2012. Ooh. Russell Wilson's rookie year, I think, when he had two 50-yard bombs. I think in the fourth quarter to win it. Aaron Hernandez was playing and played an active role that game.
My cousin.
Really?
I am Kevin Michael Logan Hernandez. He's a third cousin.
Wow.
Removed. Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
There's a little look. Like I used to get it.
I see it now.
Yep. Yeah. So I used to get in school. And I remember. All right, now we're gonna.
I totally see it now.
Now we're gonna get the story time here.
Crazy.
So I'm at school one day, and like people were like, "Dude, you look like a murderer." And I was like WTF? What the? Excuse me? What the? Right? So I don't know nothing about nothing. I've never heard about anything. Go home to mom. Mom's watching the news. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Do you know this dude? Sit down. Okay. I mean, I was like, what? We about to go? Are we about to go get some ice cream or something? Like what? And then I found out that we're related by like a third. Like what's a third cousin? I don't know, but we're related somehow.
I don't even know if I could list accurately a third cousin.
Facts, but somehow
that's where I get lost.
We're a Hernandez down the lane.
Wow. Yeah. That's wild. Yeah.
Wow.
I briefly meeting him at Florida at UF. He was like, you think you know how big football players are? He was a tight end.
Yeah.
And he was enormous. I mean, they get the O lineman, the D lineman. I mean, dude, it's
6'6". He's legitimately 6'6".
6'5". Yeah, 6'5", 6'6". And then Gronk was even bigger. So I mean, it was like they were nuts. They were so good.
Well, that was a good time for football. We ain't never seen that Russell Wilson again. So
no, but I digress. We are not. But the loudest stadium I've ever been in my life.
Oh, dude, I love going at least once a year. It's the most amazing experience. It's such an awesome experience with that crowd. It's real camaraderie.
It was electric. It was one of the cooler games I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot. Really cool. So, anyways, well, that was a wild intro.
Yeah. So, all right, that was the show.
Yeah. What are we talking
What's popping
about
in the world of recruiting this week? Oh man, recruiting is good this week. I personally, I have I'm working on a senior partner marketing experience role for one of my clients, an international manufacturing conglomerate. Super fun. It's my only role I've had in a long time that they want butt in seat. Normally I'm working on blockchain roles or AI roles where they don't mind if you're remote. So it's like really, Actually, you know, having a global, being able to source globally is not as easy as people think. Like you think you have more people, but sometimes having more people actually makes it more complicated. I digress. But so I'm doing a global search for my blockchain client. I've got my more local New Jersey search for my manufacturing client. And I just love talking to people. I'm back in conversations. It's been a good week. We got I got 2 people to the finish line. We always love that in the recruiting world, having those final chats. Feels like things are right. So this week for recruiting has been a great week. The one thing which we're going to talk about that I kind of, because sourcing and talking has taken up a lot of my time, some of the business development activities that I'd normally be doing got put a little to the side this week, which is some of what we're going to talk about.
Exactly what we're going to talk about.
That's kind of been my week.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good share. It's been a great week on our end, Digital Recruiter talent group. I mean, I think we locked up like 7 in April. We already locked up a couple this week. It's been really good. Some of the stuff, you know, obviously it's nice when invoices start to hit. Digital Recruiter has been really strong. We have people like that are on the month to month that are already getting like 3-4 job searches from setting everything up and campaigns and content, and then being like, I can't believe how effective the messaging is. It's like the simple tweaks, like the simple big tweaks and all that stuff, like it just opens up the floodgates. It's just like, I love hearing that. It's always music to my ears. We just had our recruiting call in the last hour that me and Kevin run, and just talking about, again, how to sell a candidate on a role, right? Talking about questions, qualifying candidates, talk about like even like what a campaign sequence can look like with automation. So what this has done, and I've heard over the last couple of years, like for our topic today, it's going to be, you know, how good do you have the recruiting piece actually down? Because what I always hear is from recruiters, I got the recruiting piece down. I don't need help with recruiting. I just need help with sales. And a couple years ago when I was starting, I was just like, I was taking people at the word. I'm like, okay, I was focused on helping build out automation, content, really that business development. Because I love it, and that's what people are always worried about thinking of. Funny things happened. In doing that, I've had the people that have actually skyrocketed, that have made 6 figures, some even now in the millions, just working together. And you know, that's not the millions is not results typical for everyone, especially that quickly. Over time, sure, maybe. But what I have realized is the people that struggle maybe implementing automation or content, or I don't know how to create time for that, right? Or I saw someone that does ghostwriting on LinkedIn. I looked at her about section and it was just like, or a post, and she's like, you know, my old firm, they signed us up for like a 2-hour branding training. But it's like, who has time to spend 2 hours on content? Here's my retort to that. You should be able to spend an hour or 2 on that. Like if you're doing this right, the recruiting piece right. Now, yes, I said the recruiting piece right. There should be plenty of time to actually work on content. I'm going to break that myth right now, and that mental that script people have in their head, recruiters have in their head. If you're doing this the right way, yes, full desk, and you might be thinking, Clark, you're crazy. It's hard to recruit and sell and do content. It's like it's not. Well, it's not simple. It takes work, but you can do it. It's an order of operations thing, and it's an efficiency thing more than anything.
It's a time-consuming thing. It's not you have to rack your brain thing. And I think like that's the tough when you have to like sincerely use your strategic brain, those brain calories, when you're like, oh gosh, this is tiring. It's not tiring. and I think it's not even, I think it all changed, and it became very simple for me the moment I realized the words I needed to use to sell a human being on a role. Everything got easier, because then I didn't have to send as many messages. I didn't have to source as many people. I didn't have to, and the people that responded to that message, I knew were the people that I would want to be talking to, because the specific thing I tried to sell them on is, like, for instance, okay, we'll talk about it. Blockchain roles, engineering, right? Most of them are making 250 to 300K in the roles I'm working with. So they care a lot more about the projects they're working on and the cool things they're going to be working on. So I know, and especially, so think also like your client, right? Or the people you're working for. What do they want? My client wants somebody to be incredibly passionate about solving this engineering problem. So in my message, I literally said, I'm looking for somebody that's incredibly interested in solving some of the most unique engineering problems in the world. Now I know anybody that responds or is, that's exactly what I'm talking to you for. So that's like the initial piece for me in starting this conversation, that I realized like I could save time to then do the things that you're talking about, all those content biz development pieces. So the messaging, Clark, I've noticed has been like absolute game changer. The research, the empathy piece, right? We always talk about that, using empathy as a research tool, being curious about that human being. The things that I don't think normal recruiters would think are, because it's like, it's not a tech tool. It's not a, it's not something you're adding to the process.
Getting contact information or anything else like that. It's just like, yeah, how do I get more people, more of this, more of that? And I think my thing is, it's not about, the more calls and submittals doesn't always equal more placements. More of the right calls and the right submittals do. Right? And like that's what matters. And I think it's the initial thought process and mindset that I see needs a lot of fixing. And I've had a couple examples. Oh, I don't have time to set up stuff that's in the program. I got to recruit. Well, how are you recruiting? Well, I'm just spending all day like sourcing and looking at lists, and then I got to send my emails. I'm like, well, if you set this up, if you set the campaign up and the outreach up and some of the sequence, you could set up 2 campaigns to work on 2 roles here. You could use your email project for this. You have contact information tool. You can make the calls for this other role. You could impact 4 different roles. Then you could make a post. We have 30 plus examples for you that are all laid out. Spend 10 minutes on say one post, so an hour on content. So you could you could fulfill 4 roles, get 5 pieces of content done, all in about 3 hours, and set that up for the week if you do it right. Like, it's not that crazy, right? So if you're not doing that, if you're spending hours just looking at resumes and wondering whether to send an email or not, and kind of overthinking and all that, like, that's the problem. That's the recruiting problem to fix. Now, sure, you might end up getting to the right candidate, but how many more roles could you have impacted? Right? Did you set out a couple submittals and keep working on the same role versus letting the process breathe? Right? And going out and finding some more business. Yeah.
Let's keep it real, Clark. It's making me laugh because I used to, I'm not ragging on anybody. I used to do the same thing. There's busy and there's productive.
Yeah.
And when no bullshit, when you don't know what you're doing, let's keep it real, y'all. What are you? You're busy, right? You're sourcing, you're looking at things because you don't really probably know what to do or what's next. You have no real direction. And the difference between when I was just trying to be busy and do things so it felt like I was doing something versus actually having some strategic process of why and understanding why, and that, why you're doing it. And then that activity you're doing is actually progressing this process forward. You searching another 3-4 hours. If you didn't find anybody before and you continue to do the same thing, you know what we call that, right? I see so many recruiters that will pull up that search, go to page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like there's other ways to. So I lost my tangent there, but
it's like, well, what else? If the list is, if you can't go through 6-7 pages of your list and be like, is this accurate? These are the people I want to reach out to. And if the answer is no, it's like, well, what else are you doing in your day? Like, how does that not the priority of getting that right? And kind of setting that standard. And if you don't know what great looks like, if you haven't been trained or whatever else, go find what that standard is somewhere, right? Whether it's a coaching program, it doesn't have to be the digital recruit, it could be anywhere. Go recruit a mentor, like go find out what great looks like. Push yourself to be like, am I on track here? Right? You don't want to compare yourself to other people, but you want to know what the standard is, right? And if you're spending hours on just one role, right? And maybe either not getting the responses or not getting the feedback, right? It's really question yourself, like, is this the most effective way to do it? My in-mails aren't working. I'm going to go buy more in-mails or send more. It's like, well, why isn't it working, right? Is the market getting hit up by all the other recruiters? Is your messaging just bland and like everything else that people are sending? I mean, there's so many different aspects. Like, is there a different way to source? To be like, oh, I got to use my in-mails because LinkedIn Recruiter is expensive, so it's got to be the better tools. Well, I got recruiters running circles around you using Sales Navigator and just using connection requests.
Well, and
Yeah.
bringing this back to the front for everybody, right? So we're talking about the process. So recruiter busy versus productive, right? Thinking about the process we normally go through, right? We get a role from a hiring manager. Maybe you have an intake meeting, maybe you don't. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. For me personally, if in the intake meeting, that's where you need to be radically candid. That's going to set the foundation for your sourcing, for your ability to be productive, right? That's where you have to ask all those very sincere questions that you need to know so that you can sell this role, right? Nobody knows that team better. Nobody knows the environment better. Nobody knows what the 3 months, what 3 months look like, 6 months looks like, 9 months looks like, right? Nobody knows better than what the last person in that role, was there a person in that role before, right? So if you can get all the complexity from the hiring manager, okay, you don't have that meeting. That's fine. You have a job description. Well, in the job description, right, they have responsibilities, they have must-haves, they have nice-to-haves. There is information in that job description that tells you what you need to know for that other human being as well. And again, you're going to have a business, you're going to have a partner, right? So let's say you don't have that meeting. You read the job description and it gives you all these ideas on how you should sell the human being. Well, maybe you should qualify that with the person that that's about to pay you. Again, you're not a order.
What if they don't want to do that?
Then that lets you know a lot about what's about to happen for your relationship. That's a great point, because I have absolutely had them where they're like, wait, isn't that your job? And I'm like, okay, perfect. I don't want to work with you. Because if you think at the beginning of the process, they're already pushing back to say, wait, isn't that your job? What happens when there's something very tangible on the line, like $30,000, $40,000 with multiple candidates, human beings, and then they still have that same, wait, what do I need to do here? You don't want that partner. You need a partner, a hiring manager that wants to work with you, because they understand that it's not about like you getting paid. It's about them having a person in the seat to solve their problem. And that's why you're there.
Yeah, it's a collaboration. That's why I laugh with people that look at lead gen. Well, I just want you to do it for me and do that. I'm like, these are leads for your business. Why do you want to be so removed from the process? What else is more important?
Yeah. And we were talking about it on our recruiting call earlier about, candidates that have resume writers that literally write the whole thing without them there. Yeah. It's like you're so removed from who this, like, how you got to be tied, because at some point you're going to have a conversation with somebody about that, right?
Yeah, and I understand doing a lot of the legwork, right? I get that. We can do that. But if someone's not involved in the process, I've said it before on these lives, I've had owners that I've worked with, and I've learned my lesson, that want to be removed from the agency, expecting a result, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work because they're not invested. And this stuff takes time. You can't disrespect the effort it takes in recruiting. And the stuff we're talking about is hard, right? Like setting up your profile, your prospecting list, your messaging, your outreach, automation, your manual stuff, like all that stuff does require you to qualify a great client and qualify a great role and do a really thorough job on that. That stuff is not all easy to put together, but it's doable. And it's worthwhile if you want to be efficient, if you want to grow, you want to be more profitable, right? You want to work, 40, 50 hours a week versus 70 to 80 to get the same result, sometimes even maybe less than 40, 50 hours a week, if you have things all humming in the right direction, right? So like it's all about kind of what is the end goal? Like, have you really thought through what you want your ideal day to day, week to week to look like? All those different things. And I think people just not taking a step back to really, I've been using the term like self-scout and like look at evaluate your own performance, your own work. Well, so it's like, well, I got this one client, if it's like this or nothing, so I got to work on it. Do you?
Yeah. And Bradley said this like a week or 2 weeks ago. Where
Oh,
he
by
was
the way,
like,
Bradley got 3 agreements signed this week.
I
So.
know, G. You said this. You said this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, where you were like, I feel the same way as you said it. I'm gonna mess up how you said it, but you were like, you're so good at sourcing that you can just pop in a search and in 20 minutes you have the 4 people you need. Me too, dude. And that's where I want every recruiter to, that's where like every recruiter that works with us, that's where I want you to get to. And it's all this, like all we're talking about. So for instance, right? The only reason why I'm able to get to a point where I know how to sell a human being, and I know, to Bradley's point, that I can just pop up a sourcing search and I'll probably be done in an hour or 2, and I'll have the people you need, like the 3 or 4 people you need. I'm not a quantity person, I'm a quality person. And I say this to my hiring managers. You guys are probably used to quantity. And look, within reason, I get it. Like lives happen, things change, right? But I'm not here to get you 10 people. I'm going to get you 3 highly qualified people, and then one of these people is going to be your person, right? And I think of it that way versus I have to get 15, 20 because what's the end? No, I think the quality of it is where you really focus your efforts. And to Bradley's point, how do you get that quality and understand it? Through your conversations with these people. So I'm in a search right now, a blockchain search that I've never taken on before. It's new. So there's a lot about blockchain in this role in the organization I know, but there's a lot about the role that I don't know. So in my first initial calls, I was a little off in terms of the skill set needed and the personality needed. And then it was in like my 3rd or 4th call, I was having a conversation with a very a highly attuned blockchain protocol engineer. And then in our conversation, he said something to me in a way which was like, so going back to like solving some of blockchain's like most interesting problems, he said he was like, whenever he likes working on these problems, he likes working on teams because the problem is so difficult, this, that, right? So then I took what he said, because I imagine that other people feel that same way, and I put it into my message. And I was like, hey, you want to solve some of the world's most, interesting problems? The best way to do it is on a team. Here's what your team is going to look like, right? And then all of a sudden, now I'm getting, so it's through the process, through those conversations, especially as us as recruiters, where we don't do this, right? You're going to learn so much about it. And that's what's going to make you more efficient in your process, to Bradley's point, to where now in my search, I know exactly what I'm looking for. 30 minutes, get my 4 people, done. Now I can move on to business development, sales, marketing, content, or whatever else it is.
Absolutely. That's it. And that's just the way you're thinking of the messaging and using some of those conversations, whether it's in the inbox or on your calls, to evolve and iterate your messaging. Like that's how you want to start critically thinking. And that's you build towards that efficiency by working through this stuff. And to kind of go back to what we were talking about before. Oh, Andrea's blowing up the comment section. What is up, Andrea? If a hiring manager says to me, it's your job, then I'm out. Absolutely. Amen. It's a collaborative process. Right? Because again, who are they going to be working for? Right? They're not working for us. They're working with the client. Right? Yeah. Market the HM.
That's it. Oh, wait. Are you in our program?
Yeah.
Is she in our program? Are you in our program? She said, I love to say,
sneak in. Yeah, no.
I love to say alleviate. That's right. That is what we do.
Yeah.
We think we're solving their external problems, a role. It's not. We're solving their internal problems. And I know it sounds like Andrea, but that's what we teach, human psychology. It's all human psychology. I feel like that's the biggest thing. And we talk about that. I know you think that you're looking for a marketing director. You're not. You're looking for a human being. I know you think you're looking for a VP.
I don't think so. No, we know you're not. We're just playing.
We're just joking. We're totally joking.
But it sounds like you might.
But that's how we talk about things. We talk about how people buy things for emotional reasons and have to rationalize them after, right? So that's why often when you have a candidate, right, that accepts the role today, 10 days pass, what are they doing? They're rationalizing that they did that the whole time. So that's why it's important, as you, the recruiter who would know that, to be checking in with them. Hey, just want to make sure we remember, hey, this is why you signed up. You said you wanted to live here. You said you wanted this salary, right? They're going through because it's like, oh my God, I made a decision. So that's why I'm talking about it, Andrea, because you're talking about it the way that we discuss it. So I love it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not a lot of this stuff is. We're not claiming that we have all these new ideas. I mean, we
Oh,
just
no,
have
no.
our ways to package them and have our spin to hopefully make it relatable and actionable, right? That's
Oh, like
always
from
the
Donald
goal.
Miller, 100%.
Um, so exactly,
Yeah,
great book.
I stole all this from people. I'm standing on shoulders here, 100%.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I think it's just good to air it out. I mean, alleviate the pain, highlight that. I mean, that's why we talk about doing that in content because it's not just one to one and one cold call, one email. Like you're able to do that with, 100 managers, 1,000 at a time, right? Depending on the impressions and the audience that's viewing your content, right? How to be just super effective. If you're able to build a list of 100 people on a search for a role, maybe a third of those or a third of those connect with you, half of those get back to you from 15 people, right? You get the one or two submittals from that, and it takes you an hour to put in all that work. Well, you're able to show the company, hey, I reached out to 100 people. 30, showed some interest, 15 to 20 replied. You're getting the one or two that makes sense, right? And there's just more candidates. Obviously, the numbers can go up, right? The numbers can be whatever the numbers are, but you can still show your work with sending over maybe 1 to 3 submittals, right? I'm like, hey, there's a lot because that's how you're saving them time, right? And everyone talks about recruiting, save time and money, but recruiters don't really highlight to the clients where the time's actually being saved, right? They try to put everything in a little bow. Here's your one perfect candidate. Well, can I see some more? It's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me clarify. This is the one that you saw. This is the 100 that I reached out to, right? And stuff like that. Again, thinking through that stuff on the front end, that's where the efficiency starts.
Yep. And that's where, for instance, like we talk about the activity report, right? That thing you send every week where you can level set. Hey, I sent you 3 candidates. Remember when you said they were perfect, but remember when it took you 2.5 weeks to speak to them? That could that be why? Possibly. Like I know that in this process, we are waiting for the paycheck, but it does you such a disservice to not be the expert talent advisor. That is it. You don't have to be an expert industrial manufacturer, an expert AI engineer,
semiconductor engineer.
No, you just need to be an expert at putting human beings through a process and facilitating them to the end. And that's it.
Just think about how many clients and managers have no idea that their job description looks like everyone else, even though they Googled it and didn't see, like all that stuff. Or how many candidates have no idea, like, wait, your resume looks like this? Like, what is going on here? Right? Like all those things are happening. It's across the board. So as you get experience, take a step back, learn, how can you just infer or be proactive about that and kind of call that ahead of time and just kind of know that's most likely what's going on, right? How can you kind of use that to help yourself be more effective and more efficient and not just feel like you're spinning your wheels over and over again, right? And that's really how to think about it, because at the end of the day, recruiting for the candidate side is a free service. So it shouldn't be hard to get to talk to people about, hey, I might have a job for you. Oh, you don't have to pay anything to work with me. Right? At the end of it, like that's not hard. So like you have to just think through that. Go ahead.
It's a free service. Imagine how many people they talk to. Think about that. Think about that for a second, guys. Real, like, no bullshit. Let's say you go to Safeway. Let's say they have free cookies. Are you taking a cookie? Okay. Now as a hiring manager, you have the freedom to take as many cookies as you want and find out which one is the best one. Right? And you know that a lot of these cookies are going to tell you exactly what you want to hear because that's what they're used to. Right? But you could be the first that shows them a different way. And I promise, I swear to you, I've had so many clients that they're just so used to, honestly, mowing over people. They're just so used to getting their way. They're so used to this is the way it is. The moment you're like, that's actually not how it works. And then you tell them how it works. Now, there might be some consternation in that conversation, but as long as you're a talent advisor, that's just like, hey, like you're not the hero of this story. You're just guiding them through like, hey, I don't know. Maybe you've never understood that there was another side to this, but let me present another angle to this. Here's what I see in my view. Here's what I get in my experience. Here's what I see out in the market. And then mess their whole brain up. And then you're the first person that showed them a different way. That's how I get so many of my clients, because I'm super radically candid.
Yeah, up front, because your goal is to not waste your time.
Thank you. Thank you. That's it. You don't want to waste your time. No offense. Forget them. You don't want to waste your time. Your time.
It's like we want to make money, right? Everyone listening on here, everything, I see some branding stuff. We all want to make, but the first rule you have to have yourself is I can't get my time wasted. And another topic that I don't care. I know we're going into sales a little bit here. Pricing model does not matter. I've talked to so many of you. You guys are doing subscriptions. You guys are doing retain, contingent, container.
Right.
Every single pricing model ends up having either the same issue or success, all the same reason. The client is either a good client or not a good client. It doesn't matter what pricing model. If you get paid 6 months in advance, 6 months later, you have a year guarantee, no guarantee. If they're a good client or not, same thing with a candidate, right? Is the candidate ready? Are they who they say they are? Are they legit? Are they going to work with you the way you work with? That's all that matters on both sides. Are they going to waste your time or energy, or going to suck it up with stuff that isn't revenue generating? Like, that's the first and only thing that truly matters that should be in your filtering system. Pricing model does not matter. I don't care. Retain does not solve your issues. Great clients do. And candidates. Exactly, Andrea. Have to be willing to walk away. If you come with that mentality, you'll win. That's it. It's hard to do. It's not easy. We just had a recruiter in the call say, like, someone was asking, he was like, hey, have you worked with agencies before? She's like, yeah. Like, what's your fee? Like, all I need to know is your fee. He's like, look, it kind of sounds like, if you're not willing to get on the phone with a potential partner, like, I'm probably not the right recruiter for you. Right? Boom. That's it. Saved himself a ton of time, ton of chasing.
Amateur.
And she turns into it's a great content idea.
Amateur.
Right? He's got a post that he can write about, then kind of frame up his audience on how to work with them. You do the same thing with candidates.
Think about that for 1 second, y'all. Like, any of y'all that are worth your salt, that have been in business for a half a second, think about that for a second. And then I want you to start thinking about all your calls. This is going to be the one thing that I promise is going to level you up more than anything. Think about that. If the first thing they are asking you is your price, okay? They're not asking you about your process. They don't care about your process. They don't care about how you are getting these people to them. Think about that. Who does that? Lottery pickers, lottery ticket pickers are who do that. People who invest in my meme coin market do that, right? You close your eyes. You're like, oh, lowest price, cool. Let's do that one. What? How? So right. We're talking about great clients. This is where, again, things are. Think about the other side. Why would they not want to work with great clients too? Why would, if all you know is the price, what do you know? You know nothing. So if they're not willing to get the narrative first of who and how or what or why, your placements with who, how, then yeah, you should walk away, because that's going to be a horrible partner.
Same thing with candidates.
Absolutely. Probably worse, to be, no offense.
Because it is a free set, right? So they can be flaky and do all this stuff and make sure that you're filtering them, make sure that you're willing to walk away, right? That all they got to do is just keep you up to date, right? You don't care if you would like them obviously to take the role if it gets there, but there's so many other hoops that have to happen before you even get to that stage that it's always back to communication. Like, hey, that's what I care about the most. And if you really have that as your own boundary with both clients and candidates, things start to change. Things start to really trend in the right direction.
Ooh, there you go. Probably that's the major issue that I have been facing, is clients afraid of spending or try something new.
Yeah, and if you get that signal, as Iron Maiden used to sing, run to the hills.
Yeah.
Right.
It's you are gonna after I'm 4 years into this now, personally, of collecting invoices. Every single I've never had not one time where there was an issue in the beginning, that there wasn't an issue in the middle, in the 75% mark, at the 90% mark, and then in the 7 weeks it took for me to actually get the payment.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So Shale, I was going to say, the advice is what Andrea said. You have to be willing to walk away. If you come in with that mentality, you'll win, right? You got to figure out your niche, your vertical. Yes, there's LinkedIn systems, there's manual messaging, automation, there's content, there's making calls, getting better at the calls, qualifying, all that good stuff. But you got to be able to walk away, identifying red flags, being able to walk away, having your boundaries, knowing what great looks like.
You want some advice? I got him. Donald Miller, Story Brand. If you read that with the and keep coming to these lives and make it, there should be no reason. Or we have the digital recruiter cohort that you could also get involved in, and we'll just level you up right then and there too, because that's what we do.
I know. What's it? Someone signed up. She signed up. She did the month to month. I think she got 3 job orders 3 weeks in. She was like, I couldn't believe the messaging, like the difference that it made.
That's what we were talking about today. I mean, today, right? That's what I wanted to find out from our cohort was, look, we always care. We always give a big about the impact we have. So we're always asking questions to our cohort. Hey, like, how is this affecting you? How is this affecting your recruiting? How is this affecting your marketing positively, your sales, your life in general? So I asked that question today in our recruiting call, was like, how is understanding human psychology and then practicing that content helping you with the recruiting piece? And approach, the feedback we got, right, was approach, being thoughtful, and then the way your approach, right? How you're thinking about a call, how you're
what's in it for them.
Right. The curiosity piece, the empathy piece.
And it sounds like a lot of work, right? It's like, well, if I open up 40 conversations like this, that's a lot of work. Oh, yeah, but so is talking to 40 people on a phone for half an hour and none of them working out. So I'd rather figure it out in the inbox first.
Are you doing revenue generating activities, or are you doing busy?
You're just trying to hit some KPIs.
That's right.
Exactly.
What goals do you have written down, like for real? Right? Like, do you actually have tangible goals that you're putting steps to? Because if you don't, and I will be the first to tell you, I'm somebody that never set a goal in my life. Like, no joke. I would just seat of the pants. And then the day I was like, you know what? This month I want to hit 40K. Well, how would you? Then I was like, wait, how would you do that? Okay. Well, how many people would you need to source? Oh, shoot. Okay. How many hiring managers would you need to have to talk with? Okay. Good point. How many of those would you need to sell? Okay. What would that fee need to be like? You see how all of a sudden you start asking these questions and creating steps so that you actually get to that place when you set goals versus just being busy because you don't know where you're going. That's the biggest thing, right? If you wake up every day and you don't have a direction towards a goal, then where are you driving to?
Yeah. And you might be surprised whether how ahead of the game you are, or how maybe even, I would say, but maybe behind. Honestly, I will say that. I'll say that behind the game because, like,
100%.
There's people that can make a decent amount of money in recruiting and have almost no idea what they're doing. And I've seen it before. And that's fine. If you can make good money without kind of a plan, a vision, and you got a couple clients by referrals, like all that, that's fine. But I think a lot of us want more than that. You want to feel like it's predictable. You know what you're doing, why you're doing it. There's intentionality behind it. And then doing that, you're able to really treat people the way a lot of recruiters say they want to be treating people.
Yeah. You know what, dude? I feel like it's in the context of content. I feel like, and I know this because I've been in enough programs myself, but in most programs, they teach the virality piece of it. And let me give context to that. By virality, I just mean like they're teaching all the bells and whistles, all this like, oh, this tech tool, this cool, and then you're gonna skyrocket it, right? I just want evergreen. Like, you just want evergreen. You want things that are gonna stand the test of time. Yeah. You want content that's gonna work today, that's gonna work 7 years from now. And you know what content that is? Content for human beings, right? The psychology stuff that we're talking about, the fact that we're solving internal problems, right? That oftentimes for that hiring manager with the role, they just want to get home on time. They just want to go see their son's basketball game, right? So now
Well, they want to be relieved of doing all this extra work on this project and bring in the right person.
they don't want to wear so many hats. They're sick and tired of getting they're sick and tired of being in a text message chain with all their executives because they're the point person when it should be this other person that they need to hire, right? So, what are these actual things that we're solving, and then how can we be better for human beings? And that's where I think our cohort and why people start to understand this differently, because we put so much damn pressure on ourselves when we see these titles, which is so ridiculous. Yes, we are reaching out to a VP at this $1 billion organization, but he ties his shoes just like we do, or she ties her shoe just like you do, right? She eats breakfast just like you do. She has kids and drops them off just like you do, right? Nothing is that much different, other than they're at a different place in their career, which gives them no authority or seniority over what you do. It just does in their industry and the stuff that they do. Yeah. But in my mind, they look at you the exact same way. You are an expert, and they have no freaking idea what you do. So if you present yourself in that way, to Andrea's point, like not being afraid if you win or lose, right? You are the expert. Come into that call with that authority, and they will believe that. You have to build that believability. But I feel like as recruiters, we give so much of that power to the other side, way too much, where I think you don't realize the own power that you have in this process, that you are the expert. And again, you would not be talking to this human being if they could solve the problem themselves.
Yep. Exactly. Well said. We'll do the last one, then we'll wrap it up. We say the best way to get a hold of hiring managers: email, text, calls. That is the answer to that is it depends on many, many factors.
Usually their preference.
What's that?
Usually their preference.
Usually their preference. I think you got to think about recruiting is a low barrier to entry industry, a high bar to success. Recruiters are dime a dozen until they're not, right? But great recruiters are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
So hiring managers want to work with great recruiters that can solve their specific problem that they believe can find for the roles that they have open. So the question is, how can you come across as someone that can solve their problem, be the right recruiter for them? That's why we love LinkedIn, because over call and email, you're actually able to leverage your LinkedIn profile as a sales landing page. You're able to highlight content to kind of build that authority and show that you do stand apart, and kind of be able to show the full layers and depth of who you are as a person and as a recruiter, and how you work with clients and candidates. That is the starting place that I suggest for most every single recruiter. Even industries where your candidates might not be as active on LinkedIn, the hiring managers probably still are, because how many companies still just post on LinkedIn? Because why not? So that's a great foundation to kind of start getting your voice. Calls can work like very well. It depends, again, industry skill set. Are they remote? Are they in person? I think it's less effective than it used to be, just because there's more robocalls and everything else. I think email is by far the hardest if you're talking about cold email, because we all get spammed a million times a day. I think there's a lot of work that goes into that for the output that you get back. I would say invest your time on LinkedIn first, and LinkedIn and maybe calls. But
and the one thing I want to say, and obviously this isn't across the board, but I've noticed a lot lately. Usually with my younger clients, they like text, and usually with my older clients, they'll usually like email or some other form. But I'll give you two things. In my first initial call with the hiring manager, I asked two questions that I feel, and I get this look on their face every time, because I feel like it's being a true consultant, right? Where you're getting their preferences. One is, what's your favorite communication style? Is the best way to communicate an email? Is it text? Is it like, what's the most efficient way? Is it WhatsApp, right? Some people like other apps, right? And then the other one was, just in terms of being a consultant, to level set this role, can I send you LinkedIn profiles so that we can discuss it and have a discussion about the candidate that you're looking for, blah, blah, blah. But, as much as you can be a consultant and make the process as much as they would like, the better.
Absolutely. Andrea,
Hey.
appreciate you popping in.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. I'll make sure we're connected if we're not already. Shoot you a message, but you can check out digitalrecruiter.io. We got some of our sales automation content courses on there. You can book a call with me. You can scan the QR code to kind of learn more about how we work, how we could potentially help you with either LinkedIn and or some kind of sales coaching, consulting. So we do, again, a lot with our LinkedIn, our 4-week Kickstarter program where you get up and running with outreach and content on LinkedIn. And then we have continued support there as well. You can work with us more one-on-one if you kind of need a little bit more of kind of the consulting, a little bit kind of a broader approach.
And then you get to see our sunshiny faces.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then what else do I got here? Digitalrecruiter.io. That's
Bradley,
the website.
Bradley out here trying to flex. Yo. The best way for me to get face-to-face meetings the last 2 weeks have been working the job seekers whose parents own.
Oh, you savage!
Hey, that's funny.
Savage.
First-person shooter mode. Okay.
Oh, Bradley, look at you picking things up here this year.
Hey.
Oh, I like that.
I like it. That's my kind of creativity. I like it because that's the stuff I would ask.
He's thinking.
Hey, I saw your dad. No,
he's thinking.
I love it. That's how. Sorry.
Oh man, he's looking up trust funds. No, I don't know.
No. Literally the type of stuff I'd be looking into. So
that's creative.
I like the way you think
that, man.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely, Shay. It was great to see you in the comment section.
Thank
Definitely connect. We'll be back on Monday. I think we have Ross with us on Monday, which is kind of cool.
I think so.
I got to double check. I always got to double check with Ross because you never know. He might be hiking or camping.
Could be.
But I think we got him Monday talking some content. He's been with me since the beginning of Digital Recruiter as a coach in the program. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's coming out of his shell this year on LinkedIn, which I love it. So it's been fun to see. So he might be getting too big time for Digital Recruiter. We'll see. We'll find out on Monday. I think we're gonna have Keely back again next Friday. Don't hold me to that, guys. Obviously, as you can tell, Unleashed is next week. We will not be going. We made the executive decision not to go for many different reasons.
Yeah,
mostly
I think it's a good reason.
Yeah, we got our eyes on some other conferences, and there's a lot. We onboarded a ton of people in April. Digital Recruiter, we got more slots open for May.
We need to focus on the people.
We had to focus on the clients that we got in there. So
having too much fun.
Oh, what's up, Marion? Good to see. Oh, Marion's big. She was killing it with the content this week. I was really proud of her. So,
out here saying man.
She's got some good stuff that she's going to be posting.
I don't know about this, and by Thursday wrote like an amazing post. So whatever.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're tugging at the heartstrings. So Bradley,
thanks.
Yeah,
you guys are awesome. Andrea,
I like it.
Bradley,
no, we got a good crew today. I like this. So, cool. Hey, good stuff, man. It was good to be back today. We'll do 2 again next week. Hit us up if you have any questions, if you want to chat. My calendar is open because I had it blocked off next week and then I unblocked it. I forgot that it was blocked off. So there are some slots on there to book and to chat. We'll be back Monday. Have a good weekend.
Right. See you on Monday. Bye, y'all. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend.